Miguel, I'm gonna end the interview with something that you had mentioned in the video, which was at the end, you said, Mum, I'm sorry for letting you down. And that
Yeah.
really touched me because I think as children, we're always going to be torn, and there's guilt
Yeah.
behind every thought that's related to our mum and our life. And there's the one part where we choose ourselves and our sanity and our survival, and that is considered very selfish. And when you think of survival, I think it's you do what's best for you, right? So there's guilt in that because you know that it's a right decision to take care of yourself first. But there's guilt. And then the other part is, I'm sorry I let you down. Is there's still so much more that I could have done when really we did everything that was in our hands. And so my final question is, how do you live with that guilt of being torn and not knowing whether the decisions that you made were right or if they were selfish? Because I know that you're distanced from your mum. How do you live with guilt? Now, this is something that we all live with. So I think that your experience can help other people.
Yeah. I feel it. I feel it less. I feel the guilt less than I did before. Feeling like, I don't know, bad that we went with the restraining order. Feeling guilty thinking about like the last time I saw my mom, where she did one of those just show up at the house and she wouldn't leave. And I was trying to close the door on her and she kept pushing the door open because she wanted to talk and to see me, and she had like her fingers in the door jamb, and I just wanted to like get her to leave because she was breaking the rules of the restraining order and everything. And so I was like closing the door on her fingers to like get her to stop, and just feeling guilty that like I hurt her like that. But like with time, I know that like I was doing the best I could, you know. Mom was dangerous. Mom had upset Monica, and Monica's so important to me, you know, being the big brother, looking out for her, making sure she's okay, and she's doing great now. You know, she had a baby, first baby in March. And so like protecting Monica, like that being my priority over like taking care of mom, that still tears at me, you know? And like feeling bad that like I'm not stable now. I don't have a job. I don't have a lot of savings. That like I'm not a part of like mom's care team now. It's all her siblings who like pay for her apartment. You know, I drive by mom's place where I think she lives, the last information I got, when I have to go to like Home Depot or like go to the big Asian grocery store. It's like next to where I think she lives. So like sort of that guilty feeling of just driving by and everything. I know I was doing the best I can, but like yeah, I don't know. It still eats at me that like I don't know, I'm not stable enough to start making steps of like I'm gonna like go see her one day. Like I'm and the guilt of like I'm terrified of going to go see her. Like what does she look like now? What's she gonna say? I got a weird voicemail like a couple months ago of like this cop. He like left a message, and I listened to it closer, and I think like I don't know, she was having an episode, and like maybe she had my number on it or something, and it's the first time I heard her in a while, and she was saying a bunch of stuff I couldn't understand, and it like threw me for a loop, and like it brought back those feelings of guilt of like, oh, I'm not there to like go help out or something, and just I don't know. There's a lot of like cultural values growing up Filipino of like you take care of your parents. There's a lot of expectation of like they'll come live with you or you'll take care of them, and like I feel like I can't do that. I'm not in a financial position to do that. I can't emotionally do that, you know. Part of it's like oh, all my aunts and uncles are doing it, even though like I was talking about before, hey, these are the adults, and even though I'm 34, they're taking care of this thing, you know. So still guilt there, but guilt that like my sister writes letters to mom and like I feel like I'm not there yet, you know? Um but yeah, a lot of guilt that I'm not doing more, but also that smaller part that I'm learning to nurture now that's like, no, you got to take care of yourself, Miguel. You know, I'll get a job, I'll have stability, I'll like grow the life I deserve to have. Definitely those two sides pull at me, you know?
Right.
And like my worry is that, she'll die before I get stable and figure it out, you know? That's that's my biggest worry that like I'll really regret that. And it's hard living with feeling like going slow is okay. And then like, oh yeah, but like let's pick up the pace a little bit. Maybe we can get there a little faster and it'll be okay. So it's hard. It's hard living with I'm putting adult Miguel and little Miguel first as a priority because I'm important and I should take care of myself and wanting wanting to help. You know, it's hard.
I understand. I do understand because I went through the same thing. And my mum lives in Sydney. My brother is her principal caretaker. I think that we get to this point because when we're young and we go through this experience and live it so intensely, once you're an adult and can make decisions, it's almost as though there's really nothing more that you can give because you've given it all. What you're left with is, I have to give it to myself. I have to give myself a chance to spread my wings in the world and find myself in the world. And I think a lot of people will find that to be selfish, but you know where you've come from. And
Yeah.
it's easy for other people to say, well, you should take care of your mum. Yes, yes, there's a part of me that acknowledges that part. But then there's the other side of it, which is when you have such a hellish experience and you're made to go through that, once there are two options of staying there or leaving, and you
Yeah.
decide to leave, then you have to also respect that that's where you're at. I have to acknowledge that in you as a male, because so many men, they're like, I'm okay, I don't need to talk about it, things are in the past,
Yeah.
it's okay, and you kind of bury things. And you have been so tenacious in your journey for healing. And I think that if that is something that really frightens you, to have gone through life and not seen your mum again, then perhaps baby steps. You can't ask of yourself, oh, okay, tomorrow I'm just going to rock up and say, hey, mum, I'm going to take care of you, because you know
Yeah.
everything that entails, and you know that that's probably not the best option for you. But I think baby steps in, first you getting to a point where you're satisfied with yourself on a personal and professional level, and getting to a financial state where you're also very comfortable. And that's called taking care of yourself, and then finding another path to get you closer to your mum. And I mentioned this
Yeah.
last week when we spoke, that perhaps even starting to write letters to your mum that you
Yeah.
maybe won't deliver to her, but that you'll start
Yeah.
letting out the emotions and the things that you want to say to her without any sort of a filter. Maybe you can
Yeah.
start there. We can't demand of ourselves the final outcome like that. It can't happen that way.
Yeah.
You're in
Yeah.
a process, and you know exactly what your reality is.
Yeah.
But I think that if that is something that you really fear, maybe make a list and brainstorm the way of getting back there with your mum, but in
Yeah.
little baby steps that you can process
Yeah.
and aren't hard for you, because when you take on something that's overwhelming, you're more than likely going to just drop it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think this is worth it because she's your mum, and the tie will always be there. You and your mum are going to be tied for eternity. That's
Yeah.
how it is, you know. I think you'll get there because you're on such a you have conviction in finding healing for yourself, and that can't come without healing with your mum as well.
Yeah.
So I think that you will get there. And if that is something that your soul is also feeling sadly about, I don't want to go through life and then all of a sudden get a call saying mum passed away.
Yeah.
That would be something that you will regret. And perhaps, I don't know, like I'm just thinking out loud now, perhaps there can be an arrangement where you can see your mum a couple of hours once a month. I mean, you have to, you know, the background, you know, every detail to your story, but sometimes when you think, oh, I'm going to get in touch with my mum, we're burdened with, yeah, but who's going to take care of her in the financial
Yep.
part? And if
Yeah.
you put that aside and think, okay, perhaps I can see my mum once every 2 months, something that
Yeah.
is small but attainable, and that
Yeah.
actually brings you closer to the end goal.
Yeah. Little baby steps. Yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah. Set it as a long term goal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miguel. Because I can, I always say to one of my friends, I hate it when people say, oh, I understand. I really do understand
Yeah.
because
Yeah. I know.
these situations are so complex.
Yeah.
It's and as an adult, we're going through 1,000 things every day.
Yeah.
You know, why am I not at the place I want to be professionally? And why is my relationship this? And why am I, you know, what have I done with my life? I mean, that is just constant
Yeah.
thought process all the time, you know. So we're burdened with our own things. And then we've got other situations, just like what you're feeling with your mom, you know. I always sum it up as the song With or Without You by YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a child, I really felt like I hated my mum, and that's really sad to admit now, but I was a teenager and I was very angry. But the lyrics were so precise for me. I can't live with you or without you. And so we have to find a way to live with that, you know. How can
Yeah.
I be closer to my mum? And perhaps you don't have to be there physically, maybe a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you'll find the way. You'll find the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. The way that still keeps me feeling safe and everything, and like a way to like take care of myself afterwards, and process it. Yeah. But
Exactly.
it's something to build towards. It feels like it's little Miguel wanting it. Oh, I want the thing to happen like now. I want it tomorrow. And that's not how the world works. Things take time, things take work. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, I really wish you well with being able to find your mum again and take up the relationship with her again, because I know that as a mum, well, I'm not a mum, but I know that she must have that longing to be closer to you and your sister. And there's a longing in you as well. So I really wish for you guys to meet under circumstances that aren't going to be devastating for either of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miguel,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time and being with me today and talking. You know, these are very sensitive topics to touch on, but I appreciate your sincerity, your honesty, your candidness. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. I'm so glad we met, and I'm happy to be the first guy you've spoken to. There's not a lot of men I met who are talking about this. I met the one gentleman on your page, and you recommended me.
Brent
What's his name? The
Measman.
South Brent Mearsman's book. I got to start that, but yeah. Again, just talking about validation, just having the guy's perspective, you know,
Exactly.
having guys to connect with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I really wish you well on your path of healing, and you have to take care of yourself first before you can be there for anybody else. So just
Yeah.
keep on going, and baby steps.
Baby steps. You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you, Miguel.